All right. So welcome to those of you watching the recording. We're about to begin our student panel, day 2 for the Online Equity Conference by the Peralta Community College District. Great. So what we'd like to do first is to have each of the students take a minute. We'll use a Twitter-sized tweet. Introduce yourselves to the participants, please. And we'll go alphabetically, so we'll start with Carrie.
Hi, I'm Carrie. I'm currently a student taking classes at Laney and College of Alameda.
Thank you. Katusha.
Hi, good morning. My name is Katusha DeJean. I'm currently taking classes at Merit, and I'm a business. Business is my major.
Fantastic. Nice to have you here. And Tunmishe.
Hi, my name is Tumishe. I'm currently taking classes at Berkeley City College and I'm majoring in maths.
Fantastic. All right. So our first question that we asked the panelists to think about was, do you experience any barriers or challenges related to technology in your online classes? And that might be something where the teachers might do something to support you. So sub questions include, how do your online teachers make online learning more accessible? How do your online teachers make online learning more affordable? But as you provide your answers, please give us any examples of the challenges you face, but also how teachers have helped you be more successful in your classes. So I know a couple of you signed up for this. So Carrie, let's start with you.
In terms of making online learning more affordable, I didn't even consider taking any classes until I saw all these ads that spring is free. And I'll check out these classes, and it was the best thing I've done in a long time. And when I was signing up for classes, I saw that they had a little icon of, no cost and low costs. And cost is important for me right now. So I definitely chose classes that were no or low cost, and that made learning affordable for me this semester. In terms of getting online learning more accessible, I have really bad tinnitus in one of my ears, so sometimes it's really hard to hear out of that one ear. And I have problems processing audio. Like when people talk, sometimes it's hard to follow. And for one of my classes, my professor relies heavily on recorded lectures. And his style is that, there's a couple words on the screen, but most of the time he narrates what's going on. And if you turn on the YouTube transcript, because it's a coding class, it's not very good. So I usually rely on transcripts to get to the content, and they're pretty terrible. So that is one way it's not accessible for me. And another, with this entirely online class, it was hard to get started, and I didn't know how to load the programs, how to get started with the programming bit, and there were instructions, but because it's entirely online class and it was like the asynchronous ones, I was asking, they had the only way you were asking questions was like on the discussion forum. So I asked the questions and, like, how do I get started? Like, how do I even load this program? How do I even run it? What do I do? And the professor responded, but he misunderstood my question. And I didn't feel comfortable correcting him and being like, that's not what I was asking. So that was one way that I wish he had taken time to just like go through the basic, like, how do you even get started? Yeah. And I think one of the organizers of this thing was asking me like, oh, why didn't you check out the office hours? And I didn't know that that's something you can go to office hours for. I thought office hours just for like the material. I didn't realize you can just go there to ask about like how to get started. Oh.
Thank you for sharing that, Carrie. Before we move to another question, Katusha or Tunmise, do you have anything that you want to add about barriers or challenges related to technology in any of your online classes? If not, we can move to another question.
I don't really have much experience with online classes because I just take one online class per semester. But one online class I took last semester that was that the professor makes it much more accessible was she made our office hours accessible in the sense that whenever I reach out to her, she would say, "Oh, can we hop on a Zoom call?" and all of that. And also she provides resources, which means she makes our class more accessible in terms of provide resources, YouTube videos, and if she's unable to hop on a Zoom, she provides YouTube videos or like notes. Yeah, which makes it much more cool to like be in a class, even though it's an online class. Yeah.
Thank you, Tunmise.
Yeah.
Thank you all for
I'm
sharing.
also having,
Go ahead,
apologies. I'm also having the same issues as Carrie in reference to office hours with my finance class. I've been in his office hours on the actual Zoom link that he sent to the students numerous times, and he has never showed up. I've reached out to him and tried to converse with him about certain things that I may have misunderstood, and it has been a slow response, if any response, from my professor. So I have gone through the same things as Carrie.
Thank you,
And
Tunmise.
can I ask a quick follow-up question? Did you follow up with your professor, Katisha? Like, did you email her and ask if they are willing to meet with you on a different time or place?
I did not follow up with him because on the syllabus, this is his set hours for his office hour. So that's why I didn't follow up.
Okay, you didn't feel comfortable reaching out. Okay. Thank you for sharing. And I'm going to ask you another question. And this is about the course materials, right? So do you think class materials like images, readings, video, media, anything you can think of in a class represent you, your identity, and your culture? What would you prefer to see in the videos and images in your class? And does mainstream media represent your identity and culture as successful in the profession you want to pursue? So I know there are a lot of questions here, but I'm happy to repeat them if you want, and I'm going to put it in the chat as well. Katisha, do you want to get started, or since you're speaking?
Yes, I'm ready. In reference to your question, currently no. For example, in my communications class, all the visual material used does not display any woman of color. In reality, I'm not just a woman or a woman of color, I'm also a first-generation American, and I have not seen any materials related to that that would speak to me culturally. I would prefer to see women of color as well as non-American women of color representing in any of the material that is given to us. But thus far, like in my communication class, as I said, it has not been something that has shown. As far as representation in mainstream of women of color in business, I have noticed that there has been a gradual uptake in representation, which has been amazing for especially for women like myself. I have been very fortunate to witness the professional growth of some phenomenal women in business, i.e., such as Mary A. Winston, who was a CEO. But I would have to say that this is something that has most recently started. It's not something that has been around for a long time. And I don't know if the uptake in online classes has allowed this to even existed. So that's why I'm at in reference to seeing any type of representation for women like myself.
Thank you for sharing, Katusha. Anyone else who would like to add something in the room? About all materials in your classes, images, readings, videos. Okay. So we can move on to the next question.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chelsea, and I'm going to ask the next question. It's also a long one, so I'll put it in the chat. Were you given multiple pathways to complete learning tasks in your online classes? So, for example, were you provided options for homework and in-class assignments? Or what kind of differentiated assignments or lectures like video, audio, written presentation, group work, individual work, just different ways of turning things in, would you prefer to see in your class? So I believe, Carrie, you had some ideas about this. Would you like to start?
Yes. I have I'm in one on like entirely online class and one hybrid class. And with the hybrid class, the teacher is really good about providing multiple pathways. There's projects, there's quizzes, midterms, spoken responses. She records videos of the lectures with the Zoom, and the Zoom transcript is a lot better than the YouTube transcript. And all her PowerPoints in the lectures have all the main points in there. So if I don't catch like something she said, I can still like read it. And just a lot of ways that you can like say, show that you understand the material. And the other professor in the totally online class was pretty terrible at giving multiple pathways. Like he just relies entirely on YouTube videos with terrible transcripts. The lectures, like I said before, a lot of spoken audio, which I have trouble following. Everything is just written solo work. Yeah, we just post things in forums, the quizzes and coding assignments. There's not really any other way to like show that you know the material.
Thank you for sharing. Tumishe, I think you had some points too about this. Would you like to answer?
Yeah, sure. Like I said earlier, I had a professor online which she gives all the resources available for you to succeed in the class. She gives YouTube videos, She's always ready for office hours. Yeah, she does YouTube videos too. Like for herself, she does YouTube videos too. And she also gives like classmates notes. Like I think every semester she has one person take notes and all. So she uploads it on Canvas in case you need that. And she also provides links for online tutorings. And I think the professor I'm taking this semester, oh my goodness, he sucks at that in the sense that he's like, I don't want you to use any online resources. If you use it, it's plagiarism. Like to him, that's what he said. And it's making the class much more strict. Now, I wouldn't want to use YouTube video because he might be like, oh, this wasn't how I did this in class. And it's much like, it's overwhelming when you don't have much resources on certain assignment. And what I think is his expectation is high in the sense that he wants you to give him what he gave you, like what he taught you. But at the same time, if what you taught me is not what I understand, or the same way I know how to apply it, so like it's overwhelming. And I think what is it gives like 2 different assignment on different apps. It uses like the grade scope, it uses my open math, and now the grade scope, if like you don't meet expectation of what he wants, like how he thought you don't get full credit for that. And yeah, that's it.
That sounds confusing. Let's see. Katusha, did you want to add anything to this about assignments and online classes?
I would say I have a very similar experience in regards to my communication class, especially for like MLA formatting. So my communication teacher, when I did my first paper, he wanted it specifically in Google Docs in a PDF format. And when I transcribed it over to the PDF format, it completely changed the MLA format. So as I went back and had to reformat it, it still was not working correctly. And I tried to communicate this with him, but he was not very helpful at all. And in turn, I ended up getting not the grade that I had hoped for that paper.
Thank you. Sounds like some pretty rigid expectations from the professors. All right, thanks so much for sharing that question. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, Didem, you're on mute.
Okay, sorry. As you all know, in online classes, we don't have a chance to talk to our friends during the break time or, check in with them. So this is one of the things we miss in online classes. So this question is about that. So do you feel a sense of connection or community in your online classes with your professor, with your classmates? And what makes you feel that you belong to a community in your class or in your campus? And how did it change after COVID? I'm going to put the question again in the chat. And Tamish or Katusha, Carrie, who would like to take?
I'll go ahead and answer this question. For me, overall, no. Interaction in online classes are assignment-based, meaning that we communicate on classmates' opinions because it's a requirement, not necessarily something that we want to do as a way to get to know each other in online classes. For me, it does not have the natural flow of class engagement, so it does make it a tad bit difficult for me to embrace the community and be a part of the community in a traditional way where we would actually interact in class. I'm not having that experience. So I do find a sense of belonging by engaging with others. That's how it works for me. On campus, it is much easier as you may also run into your classmates at functions on campus, or you may even be a part of a club that a classmate might be a part of, which also brings that sense of community. So I would say as of right now, I'm not getting that sense of community through my online classes. I do find it difficult to engage and interact, not just with the professor, but with fellow students because it doesn't flow naturally. Everything is either based on assignments. We're not able to connect via, as you would by if someone was giving their opinion and another person heard their story and was like, oh, I connect with that person. We have a shared environment. And I do think it definitely changed after COVID, 100%, because everyone was so scared to interact with everyone physically. So we were forced to be 100% online, which has kind of taken away from the humanity of engaging one-on-one in a physical aspect.
Okay. So I think I really do not feel any connection of community in my online classes because there was this time my professor was trying to like make the online class like cool so we could like communicate and all. So it like puts us in breakout room, like 2 people or 3 people in a breakout room. But what eventually happens is when I open like mute or mute the mic and I'm like, hi, what do you think about this? Like the remaining 2 people, they are not gonna say anything. Like it's gonna look like I'm dumb. I'm the only one in the class. Like they are not gonna say anything. They're not gonna turn on their cameras. They're not gonna say anything. And that's that's frustrating. So yeah, there's no sense of community in my online classes.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, this is a challenging task for everyone, but yeah, but thank you for sharing your insights.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Please go ahead, Chelsea.
I'm just curious if there's ever, because there's a bunch of faculty and professors in this room who really want to know how we can better build community online. So have you ever had an experience online where you did feel that connection? Was there an assignment or a discussion that felt more organic and authentic, where you felt like you actually wanted to participate and it felt like it gelled similarly to a face-to-face experience?
Yeah, I had that. I think that was when I had one English class with a professor. I think her name is Professor King. She's pretty cool with that. Like everyone has to talk. If you don't talk, you all have to turn on your cameras. Like literally, our class was pretty cool. Everyone has to talk in the sense that you give out your opinion. And one thing she does was she give extra credit for that. So everyone want to say something. Like everyone has to say something. And also it's part of our discussion. She doesn't give online discussion. She gives class discussion. You have to talk. And after I think 5 minutes, she will break out into your like discussion group. She would be like, "Oh, what are you guys talking about?" It's more like she wanna know where we are at and what we're talking about. She made our class pretty cool. Like she was the one I enjoyed our online class. Our online class was cool.
Great. So that happened in Zoom. Is that
Yeah,
right?
Zoom. Like I had good experience with Zoom, and I also had the bad experience with Zoom.
Mm.
So
Katusha, have you had any positive community building experiences online?
I have, but it was not associated with Peralta colleges. So I was taking a real estate class, and they offered Zoom classes. And in the Zoom classes, it was like being in class where everyone would engage with someone. You had to raise your hand to speak, and if someone shared an opinion that you either agreed with or disagreed with, it was an easier flow to have a conversation with that person.
Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. And Carrie, do you have any insight on this?
Yeah. With the well, I'll start with the not positive. Because the discussion forum were graded on our responses, like we have to respond, and which is good for increasing engagement, but it doesn't feel like it's definitely not organic And there's a rubric for the type of response that you have to have. So I'm not responding because out of like, I want to connect this person and genuinely talk about a topic. I'm doing it to make sure I get points. And it's a pretty strict rubric. So it's like, I have to, post something. So sometimes you just throw in random stupid questions just to get the points. And it's not like I expect, or I answer things I don't want to really answer, but I'm like, I just got to get points because I have to submit a reply of some kind. So it is increased engagement, but it's not, I don't think it didn't really create a sense of community. Like we're just doing it for points. But what has fostered a sense of community was not due to the professors. In both of my online classes, there is a Discord channel. And for those who are not familiar with Discord, it's a program, a platform where it's like an open chat board, and everyone can just post things. And because it exists outside of Canvas in the classroom, there's a lot more organic interactions there. So there are different like channels. It's kind of like Slack, but there you can also do like video and stuff. And you could do like private chats. But that was really really good. Sometimes there'll be like different channels, like homework help and an off topic. Sometimes people share stuff like who like transfer rates for Berkeley or something. Like they'll put in links and it's helpful. And because the professor's not there, you can say things like, what you guys think of the midterm, or why hasn't this module been, released yet? And it gives us that freedom to say things that we might not otherwise do just like on the Canvas discussion forum. And the homework help channel has been really great. I think if my class had like 40 people, I would say there's a good 10 people who like regularly engages on there. And there are, 10 who like kind of like lurk in the background. So they follow, but they don't like engage as much. And because it's a coding class, sometimes we share snapshots. If someone says, I don't understand, sometimes they'll say like, let me direct message you, take this off, like, add a public channel and we can talk to things. I've hopped on quick calls. And Discord is really good because then, you can just click and then the video, you go into video, it's all in one space. And, I've gone through, I've done quick, like 5-minute video call or voice calls with some of my fellow students to help them out with their homework and stuff. So you're getting real-time help from your classmates. And the great thing about it is that sometimes, you can do it. It can be like, if someone's online at the same time as you can both like, exchange messages in real time, but you can also ask your questions and then someone will respond to it whenever they have free time. And that, so that if I'm working at homework at 10 p.m. or 1 a.m. And I have a question, I know that, by tomorrow, someone will probably answer it. So we get to like interact on our own schedule, and that has been really good for fostering a sense of like, I don't know, if maybe at the very least a connection and getting help outside classroom. So that's not something the professors did, but something, and one professor encouraged it, and another professor, was just like, students just organically did it. But yeah, it's been really helpful.
Thanks, Carrie. So for our participants, we've added another panelist. Mr. Donald Diggs has joined us, and I'm sorry, Donald, that you had the wrong link, and I apologize for that. But what we'd love is for you to take a moment to introduce yourself, and then we will ask you the next question.
Okay. Yeah, hello everybody. Good morning to you. Yeah, I was trying to figure this out. I'm still technologically challenged, so glad to be here. Well, I'm in my second year at Peralta at Laney College in Oakland, and I'm trying to get my sociology degree. I'm working towards learning to do this computer and be in the community of the world. So I'm just enjoying this. I'm listening. I've heard what you've talked about so far, and this system that I'm not used to this, but I'm not totally, let me see, naive of how to do this now, how to get onto the community and the chat rooms and stuff. And so my professor that I'm taking right now, one of the professors in sociology at College of Alameda, she really makes it easy for me to get in, say what I have to say, part of the discussions that she puts out for us all. I try to engage and put my views in, my perspectives in, and she responds immediately. She's her name is Sarah Peterson, and she's one of the best teachers I've ever had online so far. So when I first started at Laney, I was not aware, and I was doing my classes. So the help that they give us online has really improved for me, helped me improve my technology on this. So I appreciate being a part of the panel and saying what I have to say.
Well, that's actually a really good lead in, because the next question is about what types of online student services have you used as an online student? And were you able to access them after hours? What services are most important to you? So, and basically, how can your college better support you remotely? So, Donald, maybe if you want to build on what you were talking about, how you've been getting support from Laney or College of Alameda, and just share some of those experiences.
Well, for me, Laney has been exceptionally, open to me to help me out. Uh, Again, I'm kind of new to school. I'm almost 70 years old, so I'm trying to go to school as I get older here and get my degree. They've helped me immensely. The College of Alameda, like I said, I just started online classes with them, and they've opened up every access for me that I can use to acquire the knowledge that I need to do this. So I have a tutor, an online tutor, and I say, like Carrie was mentioning the chat room. I go into the chat room and somebody's usually there to help me. If not immediately, the next day I'll get an email or an answer to my question. And my statistics beat me up last year, and I have a tutor this year that's going to help me, and we're going to do it online. So Laney's helped me all the way along the way. I haven't had any real issues other than when I first started online classes, I didn't know what I was doing, but now I do. So, Laney's really been good for me.
Excellent. Thank you, Donald. Do any of the other panelists want to talk about online student services of any kind?
I do have one other thing to say. I might could say too. My my tutors that I do have, I'm just now, they have something called a Fab Lab. And so I have some tutors helping me do, it's called Autodesk Fusion 360. And it's pretty, it's something that I'm not used to, but they've helped me online and in person as I go down there. So I really appreciate the new skills I'm learning to do things, because I'm an artist, and the online has really helped me stay in touch so I can keep up. If I have any questions, they're right there to answer them for me. So
Fantastic. Well, I think Chelsea's the one who's going to ask our next question, so I'll hand the microphone to her.
I'll just pass the mic to Carrie because she had her hand up.
Yeah, not sure how much professors can help with this, but one online service I wish there was more, like it was more available, or one service I wish was more available online is talking to counselors, like and getting help. Like I have to go in and with my schedule, I'm usually right in there like 4:45, right before 5 p.m. They're only open like during work hours. So it's hard to get help. Or great, like, questions about those things answered. Like if I'm trying to enroll in classes prereq, like you can't enroll unless you have thing, unless you get them to do it. It's just really hard to do online. And it's just, yeah, that's one thing I really wish was online.
I actually think they're online counseling because I've actually.
I just want to.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so I think they're online counseling because I think I've made an appointment for I think more than once, yeah, online. And I think one other resources that's been cool is like the LRC. The LRC helps with online and in person learning. So anyone that works for you, LRC, yeah, works. And also, I mean, like Society of Scholars, they also help with counseling. You can meet them anytime, online, in person, anytime, based on your schedule. They're pretty helpful. And just being any of this community, they're also ready to help. Like, yeah, in terms of resources, in terms of counseling, in terms of advice, in terms of therapy, in terms of anything. So yeah.
I was going to say that in reference to my tutor, she has been very helpful online, but for some of the advisors, it has been far more difficult communicating with them. I'm still currently waiting for my student education plan that I worked on with my advisor, and the semester is almost, done, and I never received that. So I think in regards to the resources, for me, it's been 50-50 that they actually are beneficial and then not being beneficial.
Thank you all for sharing that. We have 5 more minutes and one last question that I'll ask. I'm gonna punt this back to Donald. So how do you think your teachers are making course materials relevant to your personal experiences? Do you find anything meaningful from your background that links to the content of your courses? Or do courses seem irrelevant most of the time? Also, do you think that the course content is helpful for your future academic and professional goals?
okay, man, that's a long question.
I know it's a long question. I put it in the chat.
That's a long question.
You can take it a bit at a time
Okay,
or just answer part of it.
okay, let me see if I can put that in perspective for you. Well, once again, I find every day I wake up is an experience, a great experience. It's a lesson for me to learn. As I get older, it seems like I want to learn more. So for me, my student educational plan counselor is her name is Diebony, and she's just always looking out for me, contacting me to make sure that I'm going in the right direction. So I appreciate Laney so much for me because I've never been in college before, community college or any of that. So I'm learning to, you know, just to navigate the resources that are there. So as I go through this semester, I'm almost done. I'm taking my finals actually in sociology and psychology right now. So the counselors that are there, you know, they're checking to make sure I'm putting in all my, you know, classes and my assignments right. So for me, they've been there to help me. And I think that all the professors that I have, even in person, I take ceramics, and they're amazing. So, you know, I appreciate everybody's help and the things they do for me. So I don't really have any problems other than I want to get done with school, and I'm sure I'm going to do that in the fall. So, you know, I have no issues at all. I love life, and I'm glad we're all trying to learn something.
Thank you. I'm glad you've had such a meaningful experience at Laney so far.
Yeah, yes. I might go to Berkeley. I might go take some classes at Berkeley in the fall because I have to do a statistics again, and I think that's where I'm going to do it at.
Great. A lot of our students swirl between the 4 colleges, so it's always interesting to hear how the experiences compare.
Mhm.
And Carrie, we're gonna have you finish off with this question if that's okay. We just have a few minutes. Do you want to add anything?
I am so sorry. What was the original question?
Okay, it was about whether or not you're finding the course materials are
Ah.
relevant to your life and personal experience.
Yeah. In one of my classes, no, the examples are like, take this number, turn it backwards using code. And it's like, I don't know, they're like little exercises and they have no, it's nice and fun, like a brain tease. It's like it's doing a Sudoku puzzle, but it doesn't help me connect it to real life in any way. But my data science class with Professor O was, the material's amazing. It's well adapted. There are like different cultures represented, with, and you see that through names, through examples. So it's really cool to see all that. The data sets that we use are not just like, here are random, I don't know, strings of numbers, like it is in that the online coding class. And just really cool data sets from like bikes in the Bay Area, video game sales, flight delay data, smoking and pregnancy rates, global poverty rates, climate data. And it's just because you're doing all these different kinds, it makes me feel like I can tackle all sorts of projects after leaving this class. And it's just very relevant, cool data. And some of the data, like the smoking and pregnancy set, is like from like, it's like 40 years old, right? And then you have things like, you know, some, I want to say like bikes in the Bay Area from like 2021. So it's really recent data. It's just really cool. I really enjoy how diverse all our stuff is.
That's great to hear. In our very limited time left, Katusha or Tanisha, do you have anything you want to add?
No, not currently. I think the panelists said everything that is very appropriate, and I agree with it.
Okay.
I do have one thing. I had Kayla O also for statistics. I love this lady. She is really good. And now I'm seeing through my psychology and sociology class what the percentages and perspectives and graphs all mean now. So every day I see it all around me. So she opened my eyes to some other ways of looking at life other than 1 and 1 is 2. So I love her.
Well, that's a positive note to end our panel for sure. We'd like to thank you all, Carrie, Katusha, Tunmishe, and Donald, for sharing your experiences. And we hope that all of the participants have an opportunity to take away some ideas that they can either modify their own approaches to teaching, or if they're in a support position, let the teachers at their colleges and universities know some of the experiences you've had, because their students may have those same experiences. We are just grateful for your time. And if you all have any like closing thoughts, words of wisdom to online teachers everywhere, maybe we can just go around and you can all leave us with one parting thought. And maybe we'll start with Tunmishe. We might have lost her. Katusha.
I think online education is very important and pivotal, not just for instances like COVID, but for everyday life. You know, some people are agoraphobes and they aren't able to leave their home, but doesn't mean that they shouldn't be able to receive education. So I think it's very important that we're able to give the same experience as we would if it was on campus. Because without that experience, we're really tailoring the education to just being primarily focused on books. And we know that the college experience is not just focused on what you actually learned. It's about the experiences that you're going to engage with other people.
Thank you. Donald, final thoughts.
Yeah, like she was saying right now, it's like books aren't the only thing you can learn from and ways you can learn. So this online experience for me has been like really fits right into my schedule, you know, and I can take a class here, I can go do what I need to do there, I can come back, you know, utilize my time. And I think that if you're taking online classes, it must enhance your life. In your education, because it allows you to do multitask, and that's what online has helped me do. So thank you.
And Carrie.
Just excited to know that professors are honing their practices and craft to make it better to serve your students. Just nice to know y'all care.
Thank you. Well, this has been a really important and informative panel. Again, thank you all for your time. And please stay in touch. I know DDEM will be in touch with you with the follow-up, so we can thank you in another way. I'm going to stop the recording now, but I do encourage everyone to join us right back in this room in another 10 minutes for our next session, which is called Dynamics that Impact Student Achievement. And so students are welcome to join if you still have time, and all of you educators and folks who work at colleges and universities, we hope we'll see you too. So thank you.